Hey there. So, we're here to talk about WWDC 2025. The summary of everything afterwards. WWDC started off this year with Craig Federighi driving a Formula One car up on the roof of Apple Park as if we were on a racetrack. The intro was meant to promote the F1 movie that I guess Apple is somehow involved in. I have to admit, I'm not sure and not aware. That movie is set to debut on Apple TV on June 27th. It was a very cheeky intro. Very, very interesting, very strange. It featured Tim Cook, basically being the pit crew boss, and Craig was driving the race car. So anyway, moving on from that really strange intro to this year's WWDC. There was mention of how Apple TV has had the highest rated original programs for the last 4 years. That was an interesting fact to start the event off with. Surprisingly, this year's WWDC was opened basically by acknowledging last year's ball that got dropped, talking about the Apple Intelligence Ball. Don't talk about Apple Intelligence. There seemed to be hinting towards essentially a different approach on how they plan to bring their version of AI into the hands of its trusted end users, us. They are even opening up a new foundation models framework, as they call it, in an effort to allow developers to build on Apple Intelligence. The rumors of the more uniform look across all of Apple's platforms was the next up. Apple seems to be adopting the term liquid glass into its design language dictionary. This is the way they are describing both the look and feel of all of Apple ecosystems. They are calling it a universal design across all platforms. Speaking of unifying the Apple ecosystem, they then made mention of moving all Apple software versions to a year-based system, basically confirming the rumored changes to the operating system versions numbers. Craig then talked about all of the visual changes, including some new enhanced software features thanks to their work on Apple Intelligence. iOS will now support live language translation in all forms of communication on iMessage, FaceTime, and phone calls even, which has live on-screen captions and phone calls. There is even lyric translation in Apple Music. Craig also made this comment: "Today marks an exciting and beautiful new chapter for our design, one that sets the stage for our next era of our products and how you interact with them every day." There was mention of more digital car keys expected to come to be supported by the Apple Wallet app, as auto manufacturers implement them. More states are also expected to approve the use of digital IDs, and there's also new upcoming support for a digital version of your paper passport. It's a strange concept. Digital ID can be used for domestic travel at TSA checkpoints or in apps. The updated Maps app can remember your daily routines, like your typical drive to work, school, or home, and alert you before your usual time of leaving about any issues that you may incur on your drive that may cause you delay. And it will also suggest alternate routes. Maps will also be able to remember places that you have visited in case you ever need to recall that information. Maybe say you're sitting at the dinner table trying to remember, oh, that park that we went to in whatever year. You pull up your Maps app and it will be able to help you recall that information. Apple claims that all of this data is protected with end-to-end encryption. There was mention of 3D spatial photos coming to the Photos app. Yay! The new liquid glass design concept even bleeds over into CarPlay. New features can be expected in CarPlay, like visual improvements. If you get a call while navigating using CarPlay, you won't lose your navigation view, and that's really annoying if you're in a very unfamiliar place and you get a phone call and then you lose track of where you are. Widgets will also be coming to CarPlay along with live activities. They stated that widgets from your iPhone will work directly in CarPlay. Apple then validated the existence of CarPlay Ultra, another validated rumor. Moving back onto the iPhone, we will be getting a new, very welcome feature. Apple has made changes to try to help combat spam phone calls and text messages. They are calling it call screening. Call screening allows you to screen phone calls from unknown numbers. If you don't have the phone number saved in your contacts or you don't have any previous history involving that phone number, then I assume that's why they qualify as an unknown number. The phone call gets answered silently in the background. Once the caller shares their name and reason for their phone call, your phone will start to ring and allow you to answer the phone call. We also stand to gain another very welcome feature called Hold Assist. This feature will allow you to keep your spot in hold or in a phone call with a company while you're on hold. When selected, your phone can automatically identify hold music. Your call can stay connected, but you don't have to stay on the phone. When a live agent comes on the line, your phone will tell them just hold on a minute while you are notified to pick up the phone call. And you are given a notification on your phone to pick up your phone call. Hey, we will now be able to add a pretty background to group text chats, as well as conduct polls in group chats, making choosing the family dinner much easier. If you had a family like mine, with my former wife, we had 5 kids. That was a task, trying to get everybody to agree on dinner. Screening tools are coming to text messages as well, allowing you to screen new senders. Unknown senders will appear in a dedicated area in a little tab up in the corner of your screen, away from your normal set of messages. Until you accept, messages from unknown senders will remain silenced. So until you basically acknowledge them, those will not bother you anymore. Apple has developed a new gaming experience, a place to compete with friends, among other similar things. That seems like a renewed view on the Game Center. Moving on to watchOS 26. It comes with a new fitness feature called Workout Buddy, and this is definitely something I will benefit from. Workout Buddy simultaneously gathers all the data from your workouts previously and then analyzes your fitness history to identify meaningful insights in real time. It provides you with encouragement and AI generated motivation. That's what we need. More AI in our lives. There's a new dynamic generative voice that can help keep you motivated and recognize new records or when you need a pep talk. What basically in the keynote, what they used as an example is they showed a woman running, and the Apple Watch noted that she had just surpassed a best time or best mileage or whatever it was. I don't remember what the example was, but her watch basically was coaching her along. It's your running along or your participating motivational buddy. Enhancements are coming to notifications, letting Apple Watch interpret the ambient noise in your environment to adjust the volume of your notifications. So basically, if you're in a really quiet room, you're not going to get that really loud ding when someone sends you a text message. It notices that you're in a quiet space, so it lowers that volume. There's also a new wrist flick gesture to dismiss notifications. If you see something you don't need, you just flick your wrist and it dismisses the notification. I would demonstrate on the arm that has the watch on it, but that's my arm that was affected with stroke. This next one, I have to admit, even as an Apple fanboy and an avid Apple user and a former employee of the company, I did not realize this was not there. But I guess we are getting notes on Apple Watch. We're getting access to be able to access our iCloud notes on our Apple Watch. I did not realize that wasn't a thing. But it will be there. Next up was tvOS with this beautiful new look, joining in on the liquid glass bandwagon. There's new cinematic poster art in the TV Plus app also. Apple TV will be introducing a new profiles feature to allow individualized content and recommendations. I know that gets annoying for families, especially like mine, like I mentioned previously. The family, basically there were 7 of us in the house, 5 kids, 2 adults. It was a disaster when it came to content management. A new karaoke mode will be coming to Apple TV using Apple Music. Singers that are participating in the karaoke session use their connected iPhones as their microphone. Moving on to macOS 26, also known as macOS Tahoe from here on out, confirming yet another rumor that I spoke of last week. macOS did not see much visual change other than the adoption of the liquid glass look. macOS has updates coming to continuity, which includes live activities showing up in your notification area. Shortcuts on Mac is receiving several updates. They really focused heavily on it for a few minutes in the keynote. I'll be honest, I never have used shortcuts, so it was mostly foreign language to me. However, Spotlight Search received its biggest update ever, leaning on Apple Intelligence. There is built-in abilities for you to be able to, well, they demonstrated during the keynote that you can essentially send an email by generating the correct keywords in a Spotlight search. So next up is VisionOS with not much to report other than you can place widgets in real space and in your virtual space that you're interacting with. It's hard to explain virtual space and reality space. Essentially, in the demonstration in the keynote, they showed someone place the clock widget up on a wall in their virtual environment and walk away, and it was still right there where you placed it, even between restarts and reloads on the device or between uses. However, the biggest update that they seem to really be talking about was personas seems to be getting the biggest update and focus through Vision OS. The update to how personas auto generates on device, they are a lot more lifelike and human-like. They're a lot better. And finally, iPad OS 26. It started off with a quote, I don't remember from who, saying this year we're continuing to push the capabilities of iPad OS even further. I believe that was Craig Federighi, I think. Don't hold me to that. Including multitasking files and audio and video. And they definitely appear to be pushing it. I will admit that. iPad OS 26 is set to be a Mac OS style windowing system, enabling multitasking. By default, apps are made full screen, just like we're currently used to. But a new location in the window, they call it a grab handle, lets you resize apps into windows and move them around on your screen. Apps that have previously been a window will reopen again in that same position and size and whatnot. There is actually a pointed mouse icon cursor on your screen when you're using a trackpad rather than a circle. So it's a lot more Mac-like. Expose is coming to iPad OS, as well as an actual menu bar. That's exciting. Again, more Mac OS. We're just receiving what we always thought we should have. iPad OS 26 also introduces a more Mac-like file management experience, essentially allowing you to browse and navigate files, put a folder down in your dock, and that kind of stuff, similar to what you can do on a Mac. iPad OS 26 is gaining a preview app to allow you to view and edit PDFs, including the ability to use the autofill, or you want to do markup with your Apple Pencil or whatnot. You can do all that just like similarly that you could do on a Mac OS. You can't do markup on a Mac OS with an Apple Pencil, but you get it. It just translates across devices. iPad OS 26 will also have new audio input controls, allowing you to connect external microphones and such. So in my case, that would be perfect. So I don't have to use an external mic connected to my MacBook and all that goofiness. Video recording can be started and stopped by doing a press and hold on AirPods. That's an interesting new feature that I think they squeezed in there. It sounds like we're going to hear some stuff later in the year about AirPods and a lot of stuff that you gain feature-wise from AirPods. That was the one time they mentioned AirPods during the keynote. Or any feature that you gain from AirPods anyway. Local capture lets you make high-quality recordings on iPad using video conferencing apps to get high-quality audio and video files saved right on your iPad. Echo cancellation of other users lets you capture a clear recording of your side of the phone call, or the conference call, I should say. Users can share their locally saved files from every user. Background tasks allow long-running, computationally heavy processes in the background. Tasks will continue to run, showing up as live activities. They closed on the iPadOS portion of the keynote by saying, "This is the biggest iPadOS release ever." And they really emphasized that word ever. Tim Cook closed with the information that the developer betas would be available after the keynote. Public betas will be expected to be available next month. Final release this fall. Alright, that basically closes up my conclusion, or my summary of the WWDC event. Thank you for giving me another chance here on the MacBite Show to help send Apple information to you from their mouths to your ears. I really appreciate the opportunity to do this. And please, as a nice gesture of interest or trust, please punch the thumbs up button, give me a like, or subscribe, please. I would love it if you subscribed. Just ring that little bell icon in case you want to get notified anytime I post more rambling sessions like this. So like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Please, thank you. And if you made it this far in the video, please, in the comments, let me know what your favorite part of the announcement, if you either were there, lucky duck, or you watched it, or you're just taking from the summary that I just gave you. I want to know in the comments what your favorite item is that you are looking forward to, or what you were looking forward to that did not get mentioned. So let's start a conversation in the comments. Until next week, stay free, my friends.